Aloha, I'm Jeremy Starkey, and this is my presentation titled The Solution. This week's assignment was a bit overwhelming for me. I had to really think about what drove me to want to design buildings. Even though I thought I knew, I never thought about it on a global scale. It was a real eye-opener to think that I could have an effect on the entire planet. The more I thought about our planet's problems and what I could possibly do to design a better system, the clearer it became. It's not a bunch of problems, but one problem with a lot of different consequences. So what is the problem? I found this video about the Venus Project. It's a concept society that is the brainchild of Jacque Fresco. Not only does it identify the problem, but he lends a solution that I would like to be a part of designing. Let's take a look.
The Venus Project is a veritable blueprint for the genesis of a new world civilization based on human concern and environmental reclamation. It proposes a holistic social design in which automation and technology will be intelligently integrated to maximize the quality of life rather than simply profits.
Undesirable behaviors are products of long exposure to detrimental environments. If we wish to surpass the limitations of our present-day society, such as war, hunger, poverty, and bigotry, we need to make changes and arrange society very differently. Most of our problems today are technical, but we still look for solutions through political means in a monetary system.
We have the resources. Money is an interference because it limits our ability and it limits our dreams.
Modern society has access to highly advanced technologies and can make available food, clothing, housing, medical care, a relevant educational system, and at the same time develop a limitless supply of renewable, clean energy such as geothermal, tidal, solar, wind, and more.
The solutions lie in the intelligent and humane application of science and technology and more appropriate resource management in order to supply goods and services to everyone equitably, enabling the entire global population a very high standard of living.
We don't have enough money to accomplish this, but we do have enough resources. If we initiate what Jacques Fresco calls a resource-based economy, this is where all goods and services are available to everyone without money, credit, barter, or servitude of any kind. For this to be attained, all resources must be declared as the common heritage of all the Earth's people.
Imagine the possibilities of an unprecedented mobilization of scientific and technical alliances toward problem solving without the interference of money or politics to initiate global unification and restoration.
The Venus Project would start with a systems approach to city design using highly effective construction methods, emphasizing the conservation of resources.
The first city would be a huge research center, making automated systems for the next city. It would be a place where we would disseminate information as to what sustainability really means for the future.
The aim of the city is to constantly maximize existing and future technologies with the sole purpose of enhancing all human life and protecting the environment.
The society I'm talking about is global cooperation, where all the nations work toward improving the lot of humankind. Now, why do that? Because the smarter people are, the richer and more secure everybody is.
We have the tools at hand to design and build a future that is worthy of the human potential. It is imperative that we continue the process of social experimentation in order to transcend our present limitations and truly create the beginning of a civilized age.
Imagine, you would not just be designing a building, but an entirely new civilization. I mean, think about it. If you did live in a society like the Venus Project, everyone could design anything. I found another short video where Jaquay Fusco does a great job at describing the design process of the future.
What the cities would look like? They'd look like houses immersed in lovely gardens with streams and waterfalls and flowers and all of the things that we picture that we can't have. And your home would be designed in a manner different than any plus of today. You would be sitting in front of a hemisphere and you say, I'd like a home of about 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, and it would appear. I say, no, slow, more curvilinear, and you get more curvilinear. Then your wife says, don't you think that the kitchen is a little too near, and the kitchen is moved while you're talking? It understands language. And then you'll see a balcony extending over a lake, and you'll see a building car in front of you. And your wife might say, gee, how about another 3 feet on that balcony? And it extends, and you say, that's what I want. And you pull out a blueprint. You see? No more, I'm an architect, I'll design the house for you. That's not for you. In other words, this is real democracy. This is where you participate on the human level. Now, of course, your children have a separate section in the house because the toilet bowl is too big for them. They fall in it. They can't reach the sink. The electrical outlets are dangerous. It's like you living with a batch of giants. So the children's sector, everything is reduced, and it's changed as the children change. If this isn't love, warm, and humane, a lot of people think that the Venus Project is a technical project of computers and scientific equipment. No. All scientific and technical equipment, to me, is so many millions of tons of junk unless it enhances the lives of people.
I had a hard time with that. The whole time I'm thinking, wait, I want to be the designer. Then I caught myself thinking like I was still in our current society. An alpha male thinking of an old and broken system riddled with violence and corruption. That's when it hit me. The problem is not with the planet. It's with us. All of us. Our way of thinking and our outdated system. And this is where it gets complex. We as individuals need to rewire the way we think, and we need to do this with some sort of global unity. It really does seem like 99% of the people are good, and it's the 1% that wants to ruin it for everyone else. We all seem to agree we don't want global warming, and less is often more. There are studies that show a 4-day work week is more productive than a 5. That seems like a simple step in the right direction. Stay home, don't pollute, have more time to yourself. I want to share this news feed that has all the facts about this phenomenon.
Fun fact, in 1930, economists thought that by now we'd be working 15 hours a week.
That's right. We've all been duped. Hey guys, welcome back to B News. I'm Lacey.
And I'm Trace.
You know, it wasn't just the New Deal era peeps that thought we would eventually work less in America. As recently as 1965, a Senate subcommittee still predicted surely we'd be down to 14 hours a week by the year 2000. Of course.
Yeah.
They predicted that with so much technology doing all the jobs for us, 14 hours a week is all the time we need to get her done.
We'd have so much free time, we wouldn't even know what to do with ourselves. Can you imagine that?
Oh, I would climb so many trees.
I would have so much brunch. Just all the brunch.
What happened? Our standard work week is still 40 hours, but really it's usually even more than that. Earlier this year, I was working like 70 hours a week, and most of the people I know work around, 50 hours at least.
World War II saw that consumers weren't being chastised for spending on stuff anymore, so that's when consumerism started to kick in. So that's why we never started working less. We started buying a lot of stuff. So according to a PBS special about the post-war consumerist boom, we were buying all of these things, and it was considered patriotic. So we needed TVs, we needed new cars. It's kind of like a starving person given access to a buffet.
Oh.
They just want to eat all of the food that they can eat because they don't know when they're going to see it again. So we're going to eat a lot and quickly, and that's what we did. And that's why we can't afford to not work.
Yeah, so stuff is really the American way. Some European countries in particular really scaled back, though, on the work hours as technology developed. In the Netherlands, for instance, it's pretty common to work only 4 days, and still, hour for hour, their productivity matches Americans.
Totally.
Boom.
Totally. Though, as much as I love the Dutch, and I do, let's go with more economic powerhouse, Germany. According to CNN Money, they work on average 394 hours less per year than we do. In case you didn't do the math. That adds up to about 10 weeks less every year. 10 weeks! That's so much in a year. And yet, they're the third largest exporter and fourth largest economy. And to put it in a bit of perspective, they're like the size of half of Texas.
So Germany basically knows what's up. And I feel like there's a point of maximum return on the labor you put into, and maybe Germany's hitting that. I mean, working 80 hours a week doesn't mean that you're going to be twice as productive as working 2 40-hour weeks. People get fatigued, their brains and their creativity become drained.
Yeah, that's really true. And there's actually research that backs that up. According to the International Labor Organization, they found that longer hours can actually make you less productive. And then people do lower quality work as they're putting in those long hours. So the question is, what is the right time and balance for people to be working?
Yeah, and the answer seems to be around 30 hours. That's what the European Foundation for the Improvement of Living and Working Conditions found is the point at which people are the most productive, they're the most engaged with their work, and this research organization has a really long name. So I think we should trust them.
Yeah, they sound official. In Utah, where state workers worked 4 days a week as an experiment to try and save the government money, there was actually an environmental benefit as well. 2,300 fewer cars on the road on that Friday when they weren't commuting.
Makes sense.
Then buildings were closed, so they weren't using utilities, and that meant 12,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide didn't get spewed into the atmosphere.
Dang!
Plus 3-day weekends, which let their employees volunteer with schools and other organizations and nonprofits. They spent time with their family and their friends. Also brunch, Lacey. Brunch.
And that's all I really want in life anyway. Brunch. Every day.
So, guys, what do you think about the 4-day work week? Is it something that we could get into?
Sign me up. So, this is not a new concept, and it is proving that it holds water. So why are we not further ahead by now? How do we make these needed changes to our lives, our communities, and our environment? It can be almost impossible, especially when that 1% that wants to ruin the bunch has a bunch of money. I found this movie trailer that highlights the oil industry and their ability to suppress the electric vehicle.
In 1996, electric cars began to appear on roads all over California. They were quiet and fast, produced no exhaust, and ran without gasoline. 10 years later, these futuristic cars were almost entirely gone. What happened? Why should we be haunted by the ghost of the electric car?
The exciting thing about this is the cost of operating the car is the same as if you were driving a typical gasoline car, but the gasoline only costs 60 cents a gallon.
I plug it in at night, and when I need to drive it, I unplug, drive it away.
Believe it or not, that sucker goes. That thing will take you so fast you can get a ticket.
Wow, I didn't know this existed. How come I don't know about this? Have you seen this on TV?
People who control the marketplace today, the oil companies, have a strong incentive to discourage alternatives.
They make too much money with their technological stagnation and the internal combustion engine.
For the last 15 years, they've been telling us the fuel cells are 10 to 15 years old.
There's still roughly 1 trillion barrels worth of oil in the Earth's crust. That's $100 trillion worth of business yet to be done.
General Motors made a commitment to the Hummer because they could see the Hummer would make them money.
The electric vehicle is not for everybody. It can only meet the needs of 90% of the population.
We're up against the automobile industry, the oil industry. It's David versus Goliath.
Who killed the electric car? Lack of corporate wisdom.
In my opinion, it's big oil. The murder was committed by the General Motors company.
What's interesting, you're going to be shredding some new cars. Why are you shredding them up?
A little bit of a mystery, really.
That seems like a shame.
I think it will go down as one of the biggest blunders in the history of the automotive industry.
It's hard not to be discouraged, and just as easy to go on living another day this way. And that's what the 1% really wants. So where do we start? The answer is as continuous as the question. Circular cities. And thank God, Canada has already been implementing this solution to the problem. Let's check out this video of Vancouver and how they close the loop.
Cities are where the world lives. 54% of us live in a city, and by 2050, 75% of the world will. Cities create dynamic, creative systems. They make it easy to move people and goods. Cities are where we create, where we consume, and where we waste. And we consume and waste a lot. Most cities operate on a linear input-output model. Goods, resources, and energy flow in, and waste products are removed, taken away. But as we all know, there is no such thing as away. So how do we redesign our cities as closed-loop systems? How can we make our cities circular? In Vancouver, sewer heat from showers and dishwashers is being reclaimed on the way to a wastewater treatment plant and used to heat the next shower. At the Anasis wastewater treatment plant, energy-rich waste from food processing and restaurant grease is being used to generate electricity and heat. In Surrey, biofuels are created from food waste. And across Metro Vancouver, food waste is being collected by municipalities, sent for composting, and used to nurture the parks that make our children healthy. Municipal building codes are being used to encourage developers to consider reuse and recycling at the beginning of the building cycle. Zoning helps city planners provide a built environment that considers all stages of life, from young families to retirement, creating diverse communities where people can age in place. Innovations like car sharing and bike paths designed for commuters are changing how we get around. And new configurations of retail space, like pop-up stores, shared uses, and conversions from one use to another, are all ways that a circular approach is beginning to be seen at the city level. No matter how global our economies are, cities are the building blocks of these economies, and cities can play a substantial role in the global transition to a circular economy.
Wow, Vancouver is on it. So it's not impossible. As a matter of fact, it seems to make a lot of sense. I think it really does come down to what we can do locally and what we can do today that makes a difference. Even small actions can spark great changes. So that's why, when I make it through these courses and become an architect, I'll make sure that all of my designs have details for solar power and water. I will also include a plug for electric cars in my designs. If people begin to see a place to plug in, they might just want to go get an electric car and plug it in. At my architectural firm, we'll have a 4-day work week and bonuses for employees who have sustainable houses and drive electric cars. I want to leave you with one last video from Jaquay Fresco that does a perfect job at describing the future of design.
I was always interested in the future, as far back as I can remember. I drew airplanes and cities of the future, and underwater cities, and floating cities.
Jacques Fresco is a self-taught scientist, architect, and inventor. For his entire life, he has been deeply committed to investigation, insight, and innovation. A prolific creator and builder, Jacques has been redesigning our entire culture for most of his life.
So the models that I make are all transitional, and many of them are only conceptual. They're not necessarily what the future might look like. But we can't go too far forward because we don't know what new things will come into being. We talk about civilization as though it's a static state, and there are no civilized people yet. It's a process that's constantly going on. As long as you have war, police, prisons, crime, you're in the early stages of civilization, what they call civilization. All the marvels and wonders of technology can amount to nothing unless it elevates humans to their highest potential. This is the aim of the future by design.
Thanks for watching. I hope I encourage everyone here to become a part of the solution.